For this group of letters, we'll call them the kite strings. If you can imagine the string starting down low where you would hold on to it, how it slopes up to connect to the kite. That's the same shape we're going to be drawing when we start all of these letters in this group. So just like before, we're going to start at the writing line, and we are going to make a kite string slope up to the middle divider line. And that's what we're going to do to start all of our letters. So again, starting at the writing line and sloping up to the middle divider. The first letter we're going to work on is the letter I. So we're going to start at the writing line, we're going to slope up, and then we're going to do that retrace that we talked about. So we're going to trace back down, and we're going to curve when we get down to that bottom writing line, and then we'll do our release stroke. Alright, let's practice another one. So remember, we're going to start at the writing line. We're going to do our kite string slope up to the middle divider. We're going to retrace, we're going to slide down almost all the way to the ground, and then we're going to curve at the writing line to do our turn and release. Now you may notice that the letters that I just drew do not look too much like the letter I because they're missing an important part, the dot. So after you finish writing the letter I, you go back and in the same kind of line of your kite string, you're going to add a dot above that middle divider. So here's my line, here's my kite string. After I was finished with the letter I, I'll go add my dot. Now one thing that's a little bit different about the letter I, since you need to dot the I, you draw the letter and then you dot the I afterwards. If you are writing a word with the letter I in it, you draw the whole word and then you go back and you dot the I. So let's use some of our clock climber letters along with the letter I. Here's our A, I, and then D. Notice I have not dotted the I yet. I finished my entire word, and then I can go back and dot my I. The next letter in the kite strings group is the letter U. We're going to begin with that same kite string drawing. So we're going to start at the writing line, and we're going to slant up, kite string up to the middle divider. All right, so make sure you have that stroke down, and it'll make all of these letters super easy. If you can draw the letter I, you can draw the letter U, because the letter I, start at the starting line, slope up, trace back down. To do the letter U, you just do the same thing again. Slant up, trace back down, and your release stroke. And now you have drawn the letter U. So again, the letter U is just two letter I's, and then you don't need to dot the I's. Up, retrace down, release stroke, up, down, there you go. There's the letter U. Next is the letter W. You're going to make a U, start at the writing line, slope up, trace back down, curve along the bottom, slant up, trace back down, curve along the bottom. And you're going to continue one more time up for your kite string, but this time you're going to come back down only a little bit and then do your tail, your release stroke, kind of near the middle divider. Remember, this is going to be called a bridge connector because it's going to be connecting across up high instead of down low. So this is the letter W. So you're going to do the I 3 times, but on the last one, don't come all the way down, just come down a little bit and then do a little curve over for your release stroke. And this is called a bridge connector. The next letter is going to be the letter T. We're going to still continue with our kite string, but it's going to be a tall kite string. So we're going to start at the writing line, and we're going to slant up past that middle divider into that upper space, and then retrace back down and curve when we get along that bottom. And then we'll curve up for our release stroke. The T is similar to the I because you don't cross the T until you finish the letter or you finish your complete word. So if we had the word it, I could do my I and then my T, and then I'm finished with my word. Now I go back and I dot my I and cross my T. The next letter in our Kite Strings group is going to be the letter J. The letter J is going to be one of the drop loop letters. We are going to begin just like we have the other letters. We're going to start at the bottom line. We're going to slant up for our kite string, and we're going to trace back down. But we're not going to curve for our release stroke. We're going to keep on going down below that riding line. And then we're going to do the loop under the letter, and then we're going to do our release stroke so we can have connecting for next. The release stroke should cross the riding line at the same place as our descending line. The J also has a dot, so you would dot the J after you finished the entire word. So if I was going to write the word jaw, I would start at the riding line, I would slant up, trace back down, do my loop, release stroke, then I'm going to go up for my A, curve over and around, finish my A, then I'm going to do my W, slant up, retrace down 3 times, but remember that W has that bridge connector. Then I would go back and dot my J at the end. Our next letter is the letter P. This letter is going to have a lot of elements to it. We're going to start at the riding line and we're going to slant up with our kite string and we're going to trace down, but we're going to go below the riding line, halfway below, and then we're going to retrace almost all the way back up to that middle divider. And then we're going to go kind of like a clock, going around the clock. So we leave the line around 11 o'clock and we're going to make our circle of our clock all the way around, and then we're going to go and touch our line, and then we're going to retrace our circle and then out for our release stroke. Our next letter is going to be the letter R. So just like we start all of our other letters at the riding line, we're going to slant up with our kite string, but for the letter R, we're going to retrace just a little bit down, and then we're going to make a horizontal line over, just a short little ways, like a little shelf. And then we are going to do a slanted line back down towards the riding line, and then have a curved line for our release. Let's do that one again. My marker kind of faded out there. So we're going to do our kite string up, trace back down a little bit, do a horizontal line over, then we're going to slant back down to the riding line and then do a curved line for our release. And that is the letter R. Our next letter is going to be the letter S. We're going to continue with our kite string, so we're going to start at the riding line and we're going to slope up for our kite string. And then this time we're going to go straight down towards our riding line. And then right before we get to that riding line, we are going to do a curved kind of round and then touch back at our beginning line. And then we're going to follow that curve back around for our release stroke. All right, so one more time. We will start at the bottom riding line. We will slope up with our kite string. And then we're going to go straight down towards that riding line. And before we get to that riding line, we're going to curve along that riding line back to our first kite string, and then we're going to retrace that curve and then go out for our release stroke. The last letter in this kite string group has a bridge connector, just like the letter W. For this letter, the letter O, we are going to start at our riding line and we're going to slant up with our kite string, and then we're going to trace back down. We're going to curve along the bottom riding line and go all the way back up to meet our top of our kite string. And then we're going to have our bridge connector. So then you can just come off of the top there and have your release stroke near the top. Another common way to do the release stroke for the letter O is to start the same way. So you start with your kite string, trace back down, curve all the way around. But if you want, you can kind of continue that curve and make a little loop at the top of your O and then come out and have a bridge connector there. As you continue working on these kite string letters, make sure you continue to practice how to connect letters that have the bridge connectors to the letters that follow. So if I was to write the letter P, then an O, which will have a bridge connector, and then I'm going to do T. I go for my bridge connector, my T would be starting at the bottom, but then going up into my tall kite string, and then tracing back down, curve along the bottom for my release. And then I cross my T just above that middle divider. Those bridge connectors connecting to the following letter can be tricky. Make sure you take the time and practice them.